Morning. Glad you've joined us here at Pimlico Racecourse. Naomi, Tucker, Keith Fustel, the sun is shining. And Keith, that rainbow pick 6, that keeps on growing. What do you make of that?
Growing and growing and growing. What are we, 1.2? Yeah, 1.2 mil. I'll take that all day long.
Yeah, wow. Incredible number there. 1,253,000 just to get you started. Starts in race 3. We have 8 races on the card, meaning that that rainbow pick 6 sequence starts one race earlier than normally when we have 9 races in race 4. So just make sure that you create your tickets and get them all punched in before they jump in race 3. But we're also looking ahead at some stakes action coming up on the 4th of July. Independence Day Stakes, the Red, White and Blue Festival. 4 stakes races coming up there. The Concern Stakes, the Listed Stakes, 100 grand on offer there for the 3-year-olds sprinting on the dirt, and the Caesar Witch, 3-year-olds and up, mile and 16 on main track, also 100 grand. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, NOMS closed what, yesterday? I think
I do believe they did, yeah.
Okay, we'll get a chance to get a look at those maybe later today, dig in a little bit early and take a look, see how we're going to deal with those morning lines. But I'm sure Trish Bowman and the whole racing office they've got us, set up and ready to roll for next weekend. Wow. Is it really? Is it next weekend?
I think it is next weekend, isn't
wow.
it? Yeah. We're
Man,
on the 25th
flying
of June.
by. Wow, okay.
Look, time flies when you're having fun,
Yeah,
Keith.
I'm telling you. Good night.
Let's roll on to track
right.
conditions because, as we will discuss in a little bit, we are not running on the turf.
No.
There's going to be some maintenance on the turf here over this weekend due to the extended meet. We'll go into some more detail during the lightning round, but we have a fast main track. So all 8 races will be on the dirt.
Yeah, we'll deal with it. Track is fast, beautiful day. If you can get out here, please. Hustle on out to the racetrack. Get out on the apron, 72, 73 degrees. Really not much humidity. A beautiful afternoon here at Old Hilltop.
Yeah, agreed. This is the perfect racing weather as well for the horses. No humidity, just a little bit of sunshine. Yeah, I wouldn't mind being a racehorse today.
No. Good day to compete.
Let's have a look at what's coming up here. Let's start with race number 1. The early pick 5 sequence kicks off in that premier race every single day. 12% on the lowest takeouts in the industry in the United States. So we'll be on the main track here. Sprinting 5 furlongs for fillies, the mares 3-year-old and up. Claimers 12.5 to 10,000. And Keith, let's start. Well, both you and I have similar horses in our top 2 and then the exact same underneath. So let's start with your top selection towards the outside here. Number 13, Silent Fluidity. She won 3 of her last 4 starts on dirt, but I do wonder, is this 5 furlong trip a touch on the sharp side for her? I think she's just a bit better over 6.
Yeah, she might be a little bit better. She was scratched on the 20th out of a longer turf race. But, man, she came back running and tracked a pretty quick course and went by with ease. Now, rode the best part of the racetrack on the 22nd. But I think there's a little bit of questionable speed, and I think she can set up shop in the shorter field with these scratches to take aim and make a move off of it.
Yeah, I use the number 12, Grace Isabella, on top here. I think she's perhaps a little bit more tactical than Silent Fluidity. She broke badly last time, though, over the 6 furlong, but she still rallied encouragingly, and she just missed for the win there by half a length. She steps it up to this 12.5 level, but she's been competitive at the starter level and at some higher claiming levels as well. And Thais Leipestina, rode her in her last 2. We do see that sometimes these horses in general tend to run well for these female jockeys.
Yeah, and she takes a little bit of time to get going. She was against the grain of the racetrack 2 races back, but she certainly fits in here. So I was a little surprised to see Joyful Noise come out. Speed's going to be, I think, coming from the inside with Had the Notion. I think is going to be aggressively ridden to get up towards the front. Should hang around. And Bustin' Hearts, the Ovet gets the blinkers on today, going to be trying to part of that pace. But I think it's going to set it up for the 12 or the 13.
Yeah, I do wonder about Had the Notion now coming back down from that allowance level at Delaware, which wasn't really her game, back to a much more competitive level for a very sharp outfit in Del Capuano.
Yeah, that was going to be another turf try off the turf. Just completely throw a line through that race. I'm not worried about that at all. I think she's going to come back to form and run closer to that 60 buyer figure.
Yeah, as we'll move on to the second race, of course, the start of the early pick 4 sequence. And Keith, you got a ticket for us. How do you see this day unfolding?
Well, we're going to try to do it with a $24 ticket. Let's see if we can do it. Still no really cinches? I mean, did you find anything along the card?
I had a single in the last
You
race.
did? Okay.
In
Yeah,
terms of, what was it, the number 2, My Sacred Place for Whitney
Right,
Russell.
right, that
That's my only really sort of best bet that
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to.
It'd be about 1 to 5 maybe when it's all
Yeah,
said
most
and done.
likely.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, flight risk intrigues me a little bit here to get you started. I'm going to use the 1A, 3, and 6 in race 2 to get you started in the early pick 4. Then we're just going to go 2 deep in races 3 and 4. I've got Bullets Lady as a price shot. Plenty of time off, but they're stuck with this
time
mare.
off.
Yeah, they stuck with her, but she's got to turn her foot. We'll talk about her breeding. We'll go 1-8 in there. Bourbon Wildcat going to be your favorite. Race 4, the 1 and the 3. Sacred Lady I like a lot today, and the 3 Genie's Angel. And then we'll wrap it up. Only 4 horses in the 5th. We'll take them all because I do think everybody's got a shot in there. Tusk looks to be in very good form right now. A couple big works after that win on and off track.
Yeah, I like Tusk a fair bit as well. $24 early
Yep,
pick
there you
4
go.
starting in race 2. This starter is 2 turns mile and 16 the distance. And well, let's get going with your top selection in there. You were just mentioning him, the number 1A Flight Risk for trainer Jamie Ness. Now, his last 2 races, that was at this starter level and open allowance company at Penn, hasn't really been a factor. You kind of have to go back to his Laurel summer starts to really see some of his form.
Yeah, and we're digging. But this jockey trainer combination has been pretty potent of late, and Flight Risk has numbers back. It's second off of a layoff, and I'm just going to give him that last race at Parks. Took back, was pulling a little bit early, never really fired, but that was a strong group of horses. I went back and looked. Some of these horses come back and run some really big races. So I think there's going to be a little flow in here. Titans will be up forward. Bahama Channel with JD is going to be sent into the action early. I think those two kind of get together. Flight Risk offers the best value because Walkaway Joe was hoping to sit that same trip he did last time.
Yeah, I'm trying to beat Walkaway Joe with Titans Will. Did not really enjoy himself in that last race. I'm just going to say that he had an off day that day because he has bested Walkaway Joe.
Yes.
2 starts back-to-back wins, mile and 16 right here at Pimlico. I'm going to take my chances again with Titans Will today in this spot. I did ask Callie about him as well because she writes out for Anthony Ferry, and she said he's doing very, very well. So really looking forward to her insight on this horse as well. Of course, we are on race number 2. I know it says leg B. We are on race number 2 of the card. Let's talk quickly about the number 3, Walkaway Joe. You mentioned he's going to try and sit that same sort of behind the pace trip. And here he was a heavy favorite at this starter level last time. He did make it happen, but he had to fight for it, though,
He did.
in that stretch.
Had to battle with other things equal. But, he showed a little bit more tactical speed last time. They were going quick, and they set it up for him. He was able to kind of just steadily get up closer to the pace and then grind it out from the top of the stretch. Can he run back to that race? Can he pair it up again? He's been running 74, 75, 60. So you would think so. Dale's done so well off with the claimers year in and year out. But I think Walkaway Joe is the horse to beat. He sits a good trip. But going back to Titans Will, you talked about Callie. Not in for the tag, where Walkaway Joe is in for the tag. This horse is still protected. You look at that last race with a claiming outfit, you think they're not scared to run horses back for the tag and lose them. A little protection, which is a little, I think, tell that they like this guy this afternoon. And they went really quick.
Yeah, I think he just had a bad day, and he's coming back to his normal form again today. That's what I'm hoping, because his usual form, that mid to higher 70 speed figures that he wins off, that could get him the win in here. Now, quick question. Who do you think is going to take all the money in race 2? It's a tricky one now.
Yeah, it's tricky. I do think the slight favoritism is going to go to Walkaway Joe. I have it 9-5 on the line. And I do think they're going to come back. The bettors will come back to Titans Will, willing to forgive that. And talking about the internals, that was a very quick second quarter. This horse had to battle through. And as you said, just had a bad day, it looks like. Sheldon comes back. That's another good tell for him.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to that. Race number 3 kick-starts that pick 6 sequence. 1.253 million. That starts the pool. So it's just going to grow. It's going to get bigger, and bigger. And I'm, for one, want to be a part of this. I made a ticket here. I did end up having a single in the last leg. But let's have a look at that ticket. Race number 3, I start 3 deep. I used the 1, the 3, and the 14. I think they all got big chances. The one you mentioned, long year and 7-month layoff. The 3, Peachy Between, is Also a long break, but I love the cutback for this 4-year-old filly. And then the 14, I think it's quite telling that JD Acosta is on Matanook. I think he before was on the number 8 Bourbon Wildcat named. This one, that early cut is on Matanook for Claudio Gonzalez. Debut race off the turf was a solid race, going wide, home turn, rallying late. I expect improvement from this 3-year-old filly. So I feel like race 3 definitely might be one of those 3. And then race 4, I used the 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that's kind of my most spready race here, that claiming 10, 5.5 furlong. And then in race 5, I go a lot tighter. I use the 5 and the 8, the Mount 16 on the dirt, that starter allowance. Hard fought for Damon de Ludovico is live in there. And Tusk, of course, is going to take all the money for trainer Mary Epler. He won over course and distance. Do wonder if he's a little bit biased towards running better on the sloppy surface. So I'm hoping he can transfer that to that main, to the fast track that we're having today. Race 6, I use the 4 and the 9 in that spot. The 4 is my top selection there, which is Hanley's Houdini. Now, we do love a tenacious, consistent sort of veteran. He's paid his dues, heavily campaigned thus far this year, but he keeps on finding his second after the claim for McGee. And then race 7, I go 3 deep using the 3, the 8, and the 13. And then race 8, that single that, look, it's going to be a very short price single there. My Sacred Place. The blinkers go on, very steep dropping class from that claiming 16 nominous 2 lifetime at Belmont Park. Brittany Russell sends out this gelding. Second start as a gelding. Second start after a lengthy break. Came from Brad Cox before that Jason service before. And lost for second that day at Belmont after just sitting 4 wide against, a tough field. So I like Sacred Place as my best bet of the day. Short price, but then again, justified, and that means I can single this horse.
You can single, and you're taking probably hey, it's probably not going to go today, this jackpot. We don't know. I mean, you're going to need a lot of help, but you have situations, like you just said, in the 8th race, the 2 is going to be 1 to 5. Going to be everybody's single, and if you can pair up a couple bombs in there along the way and he misses, with the money that's been bet into this pool day in and day out, you could be looking for a very good score. Maybe not the complete life changer, but something that's going to certainly help you out down the road. So $28.80.
Yeah, it's a cheap tickets, right?
Yep, just, I like
it. Get in for perhaps a little bit more value, because I think we're going to have a lot of shorter price horses today in terms of the smaller field size, because we're off the turf. So you want to be clever about your ticket construction. I think this is a good one to start with. $20.80. Race number 3, maidens, filly mares, 3, 4, and 5-year-old, 5 furlong. That sharp sprinting distance on the dirt that you see behind us. A fast main track we're having today. I don't see any changes to that. I don't think there's any rain expected. You went with the horse on the rail, the number 1, Bullets Lady for Damon de Ludovico. 1 year and 7 months away from the track. But Bullets Lady, here comes my pun, is working bullets.
It's working bullets, right? And it is a half to the very fast Bullets child. It just taking a little bit of a flyer. I know this horse has got speed, and the break is going to be critical, no doubt whatsoever. But, I don't, Bourbon Wildcat, not super quick. The questionable drop from 40 down to the 16 looks like they're willing to, send her off to a new home. They're going to be shaken, I think, for the 8 Bourbon Wildcat. So Bullets Lady really going guns a-blazing over this racetrack. Has the inside speed. I like that they've stayed with her. Tells me that this horse is still live, got a shot. Going to offer definitely better value than Bourbon Wildcat and Matanook.
Yeah, I used the number 3, Peachy Between Us. I know you didn't get to her at all. Long break as well, 336 days. Love that cutback for her after rocketing to the front over a mile from the gates and tiring on that muddy surface. She worked well from the gate, 2 starts back, 48 and 4. I'm thinking if I can get a little bit of value here, Peachy Between Us, if she breaks well. Yeah. I don't mind her on this kind of steep cutback. That's the opposite, literally running her upside down in comparison to what she's done in the past. So I don't really know how she's going to fare, except for the fact that in her 2 starts a day, she's shown blistering gate speed. She's shown it, but I don't know if she's quite as quick as a couple of these earlier. We're going to find out. They weren't blazers in that maiden special weight race on the mud, but hey, big drop. Maiden special to the maiden claiming this level. That's a clear help there from a class standpoint. And Matanook, the debut was okay. Horses that have come out of there haven't run really fast. That's the key, but it's second time off the claim for Claudia, and you saw improved speed on the turf. Will that transfer back to the main track this afternoon? But let's take a shot with Bullets Lady. I think Bourbon Wildcat just looks too good. Yeah, see, I'm completely trying to beat her in here,
Yep.
as you see. With any sort of unknown value, I've put it in front of her. But Bourbon Wildcard definitely take a fair bit of interest. Do you know, Forrest Boyce remains on board, where JD Acosta was named first on Bourbon Wildcard, goes to Matanook towards the outside. So I thought that was a little bit telling as well. Now, he has ridden Matanook before, so that also makes sense. Race number 4, Fillies and Mares claiming 10,000. Of course, a Lace Pick 5 kick starts right here. Yet again, 12%, one of the lowest takeouts you'll find here in the US, provided by the Maryland Jockey Club and the Stronda Group. No carryover, but an intriguing sequence that hopefully we can try and figure out for you as we go along. 5.5 furlong the distance here for these fillies and mares, 3-year-old and up. Similar horses that we like in here, but you go with the rail horse in Sacred Lady for Rudy Sanchez Solomon. She is dropping in class. She's coming from that claiming 16, and she wasn't disgraced there at all against a strong Had the Notion and Promenade Princess. And a little bit of a freshener as well coming in.
I think that's going to be the key. You look down in the racing form, the stat 61 to 180 days. Rudy Sanchez Solomon hits at a 33% rate. That's pretty strong. Sacred Lady's faced a little bit better, I think. And this little freshening is going to do her well. She's got enough speed to stay within range. I hope she comes away cleanly with Tyus Liapacina. These two have teamed up, and she's put together a couple okay works, back to back to back. So that's good enough for me. I think she's lays close enough. She's a little bit of an in and outer. I think she's sitting on a good race this afternoon, stalking pounds.
I like that. I sometimes look at those kind of, patterns that you see. They're moving up and down and up and down. You think they might be on an up. You want to pounce.
Yep.
I used the number 2, Miss Headley. Lost by half a length against a tougher field of claiming 16 to 12 and a half in her last start. Going the shortest distance that we have here at Pimlico, the 5 furlong. I like this extra half furlong for her. She's a closer. She rallies. I think that half furlong is just going to give her that extra, couple of strides to really get her nose in front.
Yeah, she had a very good trip last time. I mean, the rider put her in a good spot. She was tracking inside. It was a contested pace. Aprilness was able to kind of sneak away top of the stretch. She got out to the outside, made a steady run. Just a slight flattening out late that I thought by watching the video. Gilded Lady, really was rolling on the outside, was going to go by in a few strides. But Miss Headley certainly works at 61 buyer, fits strongly against this group.
Yeah, and then Janie's Angel for Del Capuano went all the way 2 back to win that non-2 winners in life at the nickel level. She's dangerous up front.
She is. She found herself on the lead. I'm not so sure that she necessarily needs it. You go back on her page. She went around the ground. Maybe she goes ahead and says, you know what, let's try to track today. Sit just off of looking for candy and Shaq's Hidden Gem, who I think will be aggressively handled with JD up towards the lead early on. But one is going to be my key horse, Sacred Lady.
I like it. We'll take a commercial break, and we'll be right back with the latter section of the card.
And they're off. Second in the 2-pap. Ground off her inside. Race. A quarter of a mile to go, and he's 6 on top. Last of the 12 as they roll into the backstretch.
Welcome back at Pimlico Racecourse. Naomi and Keith trying to pick you some winners here. Beautiful day. We're fast main track. No turf racing for the weekend. Let's get going here with race number 5. Starter allowance, 2 turns, mile and 16. And both of us strongly side with the number 8 Tusks for Mary Epler. Charlie Marquez it will be in the saddle. One of her course in distance last time out, but that was on the off-going, on a sloppy track. Does he need that type of going? Can he translate this to a fast service?
I think he can, and it looks like Mary's got him ramping back up to some of his best form. He stumbled last time, rode the best part of the racetrack. He wanted to be wide that afternoon. He relaxed. He was 3, 4, 5 wide, was able to circle, grind it. He stayed on his left lead through the stretch. That kind of got me a little bit concerned, but he comes back. Look at his recent workouts. After that race, June 14th, 47-2, 47-4. That's kind of not really like a Mary type of move. I mean, she's a veteran. She does great work year in and year out. Has been a mainstay here in Maryland and done quite well. And Tusk looks like a horse that's kind of back on his game. Now we're a shorter field here, right? We've got 4 in here. Hard fought Tusk, can't pass it up and try for gold. They remain. But he showed a little bit of movement of that first turn that makes me think he can stay close enough, given a good break, and just kind of be the best finisher in this group.
Yeah, those works are pretty eye-catching. Like that looks like he's gearing up for something big. But you're right. Just thinking about that last race, stumbled out the gate, stayed on his level. Like he kind of creates his own trouble just a little bit sometimes. So you hope that he gives himself a less hard race this time around, that the racing luck is a little bit more in his favor. But I like him as sort of the horse that seemingly is a class in this field.
Yes.
The number 5 hard fought though, underneath Damon de Ludovico, more speed than Tusk early, came out of that same race. Third run after the layoff might just start moving back up to those 70, mid 70 speed figures that he has shown in his career.
Third after break's always been a good angle with Damon. Will he have to deal with Try for Gold, who comes out of that sprint? It was up close against some really fast horses at Delaware last time out. But the key for Hardfall, he's established at a route of ground, and he was against the bias on that particular day. He had the worst of it, taking pressure, went inside. So I think he's a stay in here. Can't pass it up. 30 to 1 morning line on turf will not be that today. This horse should go back. His last race wasn't awful. I mean, he could rally into it if things get really hot and heavy up front. But Tusk, I went back on his page. It's been a while, though. It was like a 2 other than, I think it was either in Kentucky or New York. He ran like an 85 buyer against a good field, legitimate race. So I think he's going to be just fine over a fast-made track.
I have a little bit of interest in the 12 Try for Gold, because as you mentioned, he's stretching back out for Mark Schumann after sprinting the majority of time, has put up figures that can make him dangerous if he's able to navigate the 2 turns here. You have to go back a bit further for him to go 2 turns. 7th of December at Laurel Park, mile and 16. Restricted Maryland bred allowance, didn't do bad at all against pretty good year. Torch of Truth setting the pace there, literally clearing away by 4 lengths, I think it was, then getting caught late. So I just don't want to be sitting on Try for Gold. I saw you use him underneath. I was tempted to even put him in my exacted. That's how much I was wondering, how is he going to come back to this distance?
Yeah, I mean, that last race showing that turn of foot surprised me against Indolent. That's a very quick group of horses up there. So, yeah, but I would one thing, Hardfall, if he's going to win, he doesn't want to let that one get too far away. So I think even though it's a short field, I think it's going to be a little bit contested. I think especially by the time they hit the far turn.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting race to watch. Of course, jockey tactics will come very much into play with these shorter fields. I'll get Callie to talk about that for a little bit. I think that'll be very intriguing, especially when, when you have a match race. That's when jockey tactics come into play. Now, thankfully, we don't have too many of those, although they're fun to watch. Race number 6, second level optional claimer mile and 16 the distance. And we see Hadley's Houdini make an appearance yet again. He's been heavily campaigned over this, first section of 2021. We do have a video of his last effort right here, course and distance. Drops in class, but look at that here. So he has his head down. That's kind of how he runs. Mates this move, was kind of, Havian was starting to niggle him at the start of this home turn. And he really responds. He digs in very willingly. And then to me, he's a bit more grinder, but he does grind into this next kind of gear. It seems like he just kind of starts building up momentum and then doesn't stop. So second after the claim at McGee as well, both of us respect him massively.
Yeah, and I think he's going to be able to sit an inside trip with Forest Fire down to just to his inside. I think he's going to be handled up towards the front. And this guy, he's just a trier handle, Ace Houdini. Can he sustain and go back to back is going to be the key. But this little stat here kind of gave me a little extra confidence. Kieran McGee, the last 3 years on the dirt, 14 for 44. That's 32%, 26 of 44 in the money. Dirt routes here in Maryland off of a top buyer fig. Okay, there's your ROI 307. Yeah, he's a trier. I mean, look at McElmore Avenue, however you want to pronounce it. He's just been phenomenal for Mary Epler off the claim.
Yep.
It's a good horse race. I know we got a couple scratches. Take out the entry and take out the 8 Rough C. But even Forest Fire intrigues me. You won't get the 10 to 1 on the morning line. This is a horse, once again, a little bit of an in-and-outer. He's a horse who won the Maryland Million a few years back. I think Russell is going to try to go with him, secure the inside, and when he gets the lead and gets a little bit of a comfortable pace, he can hang for a long period of time. So if he's sitting up there at a square price, don't be scared to put him and key him around in your exactas, because I think he's going to hold a little bit of value here.
I like that. Now, yeah, Macklemore Avenue, Mary Epler, Carol Cedino step back up to this level after he tried that start allowance at Delaware. Was heavily back that day, just lost by a head. But if you look at what he's been doing, he's just continuing to improve, especially if you look at the buyer figures. This horse just seems to, get better with every start at present.
And he looks like a horse too that you can put him where you want to. You know, where you thought before he was just such a stone cold deep closer on the turf. You come back and all of a sudden on the main track he wants to be up on the lead. He can be just off of it. So yeah, you know, he can navigate a trip, I think, with his tactical speed and work it out. He's holding tremendous form here for Mary.
Yeah, and just, you know, Macklemore Avenue was with Brittany Russell before. She really laid the groundwork for this horse, and then Mary Epler just kind of took it and ran with him. Like, he's just been going from strength to strength. So well done to her. We're continuing to develop this now 4-year-old gelding by El Padrino. Race number 7, Open Company First Level Allowance, mile and 16 on the main track. Both of you and I see this similar again. I guess that's what we're getting with some of these smaller fields. We don't have that many to pick from, but both of us like the number 13 and the number 8, Dig Charlie Dig. Let's start with my top pick here.
Okay.
3 seconds in a row. No, not as lucky with that one, but last time he stretched out to 2 turns and did that without issues, and you already highlighted it earlier, Keith. Jamie Ness and Jamie Rodriguez are quite a strong team that you don't really want to go against here at Pimlico.
No. And I was against them last time. We had McCain, who was able to kind of give that form reversal for Hammy Smith and was able to do things up top. Dig Charlie Dig, I still kind of want to see it here. I think he's a little bit better at maybe 7/8 to 6, but you know, this trip, shorter field, he might be able to get perfect position. He's orientated, I think he's going to send, but I think Ben and Joe with Marquez is going to sit a very comfortable trip, sit outside the speed, and I think he can maybe break away from this field around the final turn. And when you hook him, he's game. Toss his last. I like Ben and Joe. He's going to be my key in here. I mean, Dream Big Dreams big time last time, but was it a slop aberration? He was on the best part of the racetrack. He's going to have to show me one more time.
Yeah, Ben and Joe only jumping from stall 5 with all the scratches on his inside, so definitely won't be hung out wide. Indeed, has good gate speed, and you're right, he does battle for it in the ladder section. So I respect him. I have him in my exact, and indeed the number 3, both of us respecting here as well. Dream Big Dream. To me, it seems like Dream Big Dreams is starting to put it all together. That 007 race at that restricted Maryland bred allowance, that was tenacious. The two were ding-donging right to the end of the wire there. I thought that was strong. I think he stepped up to the plate in that company. Now has to continue that progression. And then, of course, the number 9 English Tavern, Hamilton Smith. Never discount a Hamilton Smith runner, right? He knows, like, at a big price, he'll come in and he'll be smiling at you like, yeah, I know.
Yeah. Look at that second off of this type of layoff, a positive ROI. Doesn't have a slew of speed, but he's got staying power. I think he's going to have to improve a little bit. He's going to have to run a top to beat these. But whole hammy, yeah, don't ever dismiss him at a price.
Next race is the final one on the card, race number 8. My best bet comes in this race, mile and 16 on the main track. Nickel claiming Levernomen is a 2 in their careers. Both of you and I see this the same. He's my best bet. The number 2, My Sacred Place. Sheldon Russell, Brittany Russell, the Team Russell. Blinkers go on. The second start is a gelding. The second start after a break. This horse was with Jason Sewers before. Them was with Brad Cox. And I did kind of like that effort in the Brad Cox stable. And sometimes you see that they decide that perhaps, you know, the Maryland circuit, the Mid-Atlantic circuit suits these horses better. And then they get sent over to Brittany. And she tends to kind of just grab them and run with them and does very well with them. And this is an easy spot. What a big drop as well. Is that concerning, though, that big claiming 16 drop to this? Because, you know, could we have gone a level in between?
No, not with her, because she's done this. We've seen this move with a few of the horses. Sam and Sai, we'll see. I think got beat, but had a little trouble. Did the same kind of move, a jam job. But no, not really. It doesn't bother me, because she's got owners here that want to have a little bit higher class level of horses, and if they're not quite cutting it, okay, we're gonna if you want to go to another barn, fine. We're gonna let you win and move on. And this horse, again, it's his race to lose on the front end. If he breaks cleanly, he should just open up, go clear, and hold sway light, you would think.
Yeah, I agree. And then if I look back at that Belmont race, he only kind of just lost for a second. He was third by 10.5 lengths, like the winner kind of completely kicked. But he sat 4 wide against, you know, a tougher field, and he was behind a pace that wasn't really there in the first section of it, just kind of, you know, average, and then they started building it up. So that's tricky. So I definitely think My Sacred Place, if he's more forwardly placed, like you said, I think he could be the dominating speed in this spot. You use the number 6 underneath as well, Artillery. especially for Jose Corrales, also dropping in class from that claiming 10 to 8 millimeters at 2 level.
He can get the distance. He in the 4, I mean, just not terribly fast, and they're just up against it with their running styles against the favorite in here. So, you know, I don't know what to tell you in the last.
I'm with you. That's why it's my
I
best
can't
bet.
really give you anything else.
I can't see past this.
No.
He's my single in the Rainbow Pick 6, and that will do us here for the race talk. But we still have some other informative points coming up in Lightning Round. Let's keep you up to date with the jockey standings. Quite remarkable how former bug boy, now journeyman rider Charlie Marquez has continued to get the winners home despite having lost his bug. I mean, that's that's kind of, you know, the make or break part of anyone's career, right? Once you don't get that weight allowance anymore, will you still be able to get on the right horses and continue getting those winners home? But Charlie Marquez has shown no problem.
You know, I've been here a long, long time, seeing a lot of bug riders, and you're right. For them to stay and to handle it as a journeyman doesn't happen to this success, you know, too often. You know, you think, you know, Trevor and stuff like that, but I'm telling you, it's hard to do and get the trust of the owners and the trainers and to come back and say, hey, you know what, I'm worthy enough, I'm good enough, I've got the talent. And Charlie, he's showing that right now.
Yeah, he truly is. JD Acosta also continuing to try and narrow that gap to Charlie, also riding high, heavy and Toledo underneath, Carol Cedino and Xavier Perez. As for the trainers, familiar faces here, especially at the top. Claudio Gonzalez remains at the head of affairs. 19 winners, continues to get them home. But Jerry Robb has switched his placings, I think, with Kieran McGee, or Jerry Robb was just a little bit further down. So we see underneath that they all kind of tightly bunched, aren't they?
Yeah, we've got trainers here, and they run a lot of horses. Claudio leads the way, and but they're all higher percentage, you know, trainers. From a betting standpoint, you can kind of usually depend on them if you're going to key horses in exactas, that one of those guys, their horses are going to hit the board. So it helps you there a little bit as well. But Claudio, just with the numbers, he's tough to beat.
Absolutely, and we'll update you on the current state of affairs when it comes to the turf surface, according to the MJC superintendent Chris Bosley. Turf racing will be suspended this weekend due to necessary maintenance. The track will be aerated, fertilized. The goal to just get it back in peak condition again. Of course, because of that extended peak, we're racing on this much longer than we'd ever done before.
Yeah, you're asking a lot of a turf course that usually doesn't go through this. So, yeah, doing the right thing, the prudent thing, and get this thing squared away for moving forward.
Agreed. Looking forward to coming back on the turf. And then as for our sister track, Gulfstream Park, they have a guaranteed pool today of $650,000 in the Rainbow Pick 6 and a mandatory payout tomorrow. So if the pool doesn't go out today, look at that, estimated over $2.5 million. We know that when there's a mandatory payout at Gulfstream Park, everyone gets on board. Yeah,
so you're going to have a lot of the Stronach tracks between Gulfstream, right, and here at Pimlico. You gotta hit the bank machine. Bring a couple extra bucks out tomorrow and maybe take on both tracks. A little double duty.
Why not? Why not? If anyone can do it, be you, Keith.
Well, we'll see.
That will do it for us today. Of course, Dave Rotman will be coming up next with, I guess, a longer list of scratches and changes for today, but a good card nonetheless. Good luck, everyone.
You got it. Good luck.